Mike with MJ Scale Modeling here. I apologize for the way I sound. I have a horrible cold that I'm fighting off right now. But I still want to try to get this video out here. This is the video of my Type 97 that I had started before I started YouTube. And I messed it up really bad, and I had to do a bunch of work on it. So when I start this video, it's actually already painted with camouflage. I tweak it, I start doing a little extra work to it, and I really make it come alive. And believe it or not, I actually just won first place with this at a contest, local contest, nothing fancy, in Access Armor. So that's kind of cool. But this is the first video I have doing this, and like I said, it started while it was actually camouflaged already. So it's going to be a lot of dot filter, panel lining, you know, all the details and stuff like that. And I think it turns out pretty good. I really enjoyed building this. You know, Type 97 is pretty cool. It's the Chiha. It's not the Chiha Kai. It's the Chiha. I did the history video on it before. So this is the video of the rest of it, the finish of it. So let's go ahead and get in the video and let's do it. So for my original camouflage colors, I did red brown XF64 and NATO green XF67 and then khaki XF49. Those are the colors I did originally for the camouflage. And here I'm just using NATO black to paint up the machine gun on the roof and the, you know, jack and all the stuff like that on the side. I mean, it looks pretty stark right now with it just painted black, but once I start putting some weathering and stuff on it, it really shapes up. And here on the end of the clevises and stuff for towing and whatnot, I like to use either metallic type gray, or right here I'm using X10 gunmetal. And it makes it look like it's been being used, and the very tips of the sprocket wheels and stuff like that, I like to put a little metallic shine on it just to show that they've been being used. And here for the wraparound antenna on the roof, I'm using XF6 copper because, well, that's what it was. It was copper. It's kind of funny because I showed this to my dad, who was a commo NCO for almost 30 years in the U.S. Army, and he says, wow, that's a pretty effed up design. Tank commander sitting up there holding onto the rail. Hey, radio headquarters. Guy keys the mic and just gets a good jolt right to his body. For the insulators holding the antenna on, I used Tamiya XF64 red brown. And again, everyone, I really apologize for my voice. I am still beating this cold, and I've had a lot of people message me and comment saying that they can't stand my voice, that it's too deep and obnoxious, so they're really going to hate this video. You know, growing up in the rural Upper Peninsula and living here my entire life, you know, we have lots of tractors and four-wheelers and everything, and you always see the exhaust, you know, manifolds and cowlings and mufflers. They get rusty, and they start to, you know, show that patina on it. And so I try to mimic that on what I would think would be a heated up exhaust cowling on some of my tanks. So right here I'm using a Vallejo 302 Dark Rust, and then I'm just taking a Vallejo 71.130 Orange Rust and just dabbing ever so slightly along the the mufflers and stuff like that kind of give it that patina, that rust. And I think it turns out pretty good. You got to be very careful, because I did one before and it looked cartoonish. It did not turn out good. You got to be very careful how you do it. And here I'm using XF57 buff on the handles of the wood tools in anticipation of using oil paints to make the wood grain. And my go-to for the clear coat that I put on for my dot filters and my pin washes and everything like that is the Pledge Revive It floor wax, and it works really good. And I've had that bottle for about 4 years now, and it's barely even scratched the surface of it. And here I'm applying my decals to my clear coat on the tank. And here for this vehicle, for my decal setting, I'm using Tamiya Mr. Mark Setter. Here I am beginning my oil paint dot filter, and for this dot filter I'm using Winsor & Newton oil colors Lamp Black, Burnt Sienna, and Burnt Umber. And like I'm doing here, I'm just taking my brush, I'm just putting little dots all over the place, just ever so slightly little dots. I'm starting from the top down. You take your oil paint thinner and you just kind of brush it off. Now, I did another tank before I worked extremely hard on, did a lot of work on, and I put way too much burnt sienna in it, and the tank came out orange, just destroyed it. And so you have to have an even balance to get the shade that you want. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. Do you want black? Do you want brown? Do you want orange? I mean, if you want orange, go for it, but that's not what I wanted here. So, and also make sure you wear gloves, because otherwise your hands will get covered. And like I always like to say during these builds, building this tank and stuff like that, don't forget the men who died fighting in this tank and fighting against this tank. I mean, these were all soldiers, and let's never forget that. As a soldier myself, I have a lot of respect for anyone who defends their country, and I just always think of them when I'm building these tanks. When you're doing your dot filter, you want to take your brush, you want to put your thinner on it and stuff like that, and you want to just brush it off till it's almost dry, and then just keep brushing that paint off. And you may have to go to a couple times to get the look you want and stuff like that, but if you just keep going at it, you're gonna get that look you want. And personally myself, I am not perfect at it. I mean, I try to get a good look, but it always looks like it has streaks in it. So I try to make it look like it almost has water streaks and stuff like that. It turns out okay. This tank turned out pretty damn good, but it definitely needs room for improvement. So if anybody has any suggestions for room for improvement, please let me know. When I'm doing road wheels and bogies with oil paint dot filters, I usually lean in pretty heavy on the brown and the black, and sometimes I may throw in another type of brown. I have a bunch of colors of brown in Winsor & Newton. I just use the burnt umber and the lamp black and the burnt sienna, but I really leaned into the burnt umber and the lamp black on this. If you guys remember from my history video, this tank was developed in response to Soviet tanks such as the BT-7 light tank and stuff. And recently at a meet this last weekend, I saw a Tamiya BT-7 tank for sale, and I was being a cheapskate and I didn't buy it, and I kind of regret it. I'm sure I can find it on Amazon, but they're asking a little too much for it, and I kind of am kicking myself for not just buying it, because that would have been a really fun model to build as well, the Soviet BT-7 tank. As we're at the end of this video, if anybody's watching this and they're interested in the history of the Type 97 Chiha, feel free to check out my other video I did regarding the history of the Type 97 Chiha and the Chiha Kai. I really enjoyed researching this vehicle, and I really enjoyed building it and painting it. So as we come to the end of this video, please like and leave a comment, and if you're so inclined, subscribe, and we're going to finish this tank up in the next one. See you there.